So, superhero movies. There are a lot of them, and a lot of people with opinions about them. I, unfortunately, am one such person. Even more annoyingly, I grew up in the 1990s, meaning I have the troublesome habit of clinging to the past.
I love old stuff!
Now, I'm a fan of plenty of 90s crap, but I don't believe superhero movies were at their best during this era. I think most people would say that the superhero hellscape in which we currently live didn't start until after 2000.
Has to do with Spider-Man, I think.
However, there was one special film in 1999. A superhero team-up that's not only worth watching, but is still worth learning from. A film that may have achieved the status of cult classic, but in my opinion, has never gotten the respect it deserves. My name is Cass, and I'm here to talk about Mystery Men. Mystery Men is a superhero movie released on August 6, 1999 and directed by Kinka Usher. The story revolves around a group of blue-collar crime fighters created by Bob Burden and introduced in Flaming Carrot Comics. Upon release, it received middling reviews and was a resounding failure at the box office. However, it would go on to receive renewed success after a wannabe YouTuber, me, decided to cover it. After a brief title card, the film opens as we fly through our setting for the story, Champion City. Featuring blimps, statues, and perpetual mist, the city wouldn't feel out of place in Blade Runner or Demolition Man. Superheroes usually need a city in which to do business, and as this world's Gotham, Champion City has a lot of charm. We pass through some windows into a party taking place at a nursing home. We're shown coordinated dance numbers, live music, and Tom Waits hitting on one of the residents. A couple of fun details are that some of the senior citizens are sitting on bedpans, and the bar is serving pharmaceuticals. Party is interrupted by a group of criminals who are nice enough to introduce themselves.
We're the Red Eyes, so everybody free!
Artie Lang leads the crew in robbing the old folks of everything from their valuables to their prosthetics.
Oh, I'll get that up.
As Big Red partakes in some cake, our heroes make their entrance.
Pardon me, fatty. But if you're going to eat cake, you ought to use a fork.
You might just as well shovel it in.
People who don't close their mouths when they chew make me furious.
You may have noticed that this isn't really a standard crew of crime fighters. Instead, the fate of these old folks is in the hands of Hank Azaria flinging forks, William H. Macy brandishing a shovel, and a screaming Ben Stiller jumping off the tables. Not only that, but these heroes are even less coordinated than the crew of criminals they're supposed to be stopping. After we see our heroes mostly kick their own asses, a new challenger crashes through the window and quickly defeats the Red Eyes. The newcomer is revealed to be Greg Kinnear's Captain Amazing, Champion City's most popular superhero. The trio deduce that Amazing will likely take the credit for what happened tonight, then introduce themselves to him. Captain Amazing tries to brush them off, even assuming that they're residents before he and the audience are given an official introduction to the team.
Blue Raja, master of silverware, is my colleague, the shoveler. Standing rather painfully aside is our cohort, Mr. Furious.
Keep up the good work.
Oh, yes.
Captain Amazing hurries off, leaving Blue Raja and Shoveler starstruck while Mr. Furious recognizes that Amazing was making fun of them. The trio head out, but Shoveler is stopped by Tom Waits, who introduces himself as a weapons designer who can supply them with some much-needed firepower.
I've got what you need. I don't live here. I'm here for the ladies.
Shoveler rejects him, but takes his card and puts it away for later use.
Right next to a huge steaming bowl of foreshadowing.
Outside, Captain Amazing and his publicist are bombarded by reporters who express concerns that he may put himself out of work. CA quite literally pushes past the young fan, stopping only for a quick photo op with one of the nursing home's inhabitants. We also learn at the same time he does that Pepsi is no longer one of his many sponsors, as he exits the scene in a limo. Our heroes, on the other hand, unfortunately aren't treated as nicely as they leave the area. While Captain Amazing had fans and press, Mr. Furious gets Bulk and Skull here. The cops antagonize the trio, and we get the sense that this isn't the first time these guys have butt heads.
You keep dreaming, wannabe.
I will keep dreaming, my friend. And when I wake up, you better hope you're asleep.
Re-engage them.
Sweet dreams!
He's immature.
Lilac!
Speaking of people masquerading as heroes, we catch up with Captain Amazing in the back of his limo, where he's berating his publicist for losing his Pepsi endorsement and not finding higher-profile criminals to take down.
Deathman.
Deathman is dead.
Okay, Father Doom.
Life without parole. Apocalypto's doing 50 years, Armageddon's in exile, Baron von Chaos got the chair.
Really?
Casanova Frankenstein is locked up in a nut house.
Casanova Frankenstein. Now there was a supervillain. You know, he He's got those eyes, you know. Well, the battles we used to have, extraordinary.
Along with this excellent world building, I love the anticipation we get before we actually meet Casanova Frankenstein. Captain Amazing quickly perks up at the mention of his name, showing us that the two of them have a history and acknowledging that he was a memorable and formidable enemy. Captain Amazing then makes the DreamWorks face, indicating that he may have had an idea, and we make our way to Champion City's version of Arkham Asylum. Inside the facility, we join the parole hearing for Jeffrey Rush's Casanova Frankenstein. A woman introduced as Dr. Leek tells the board that Casanova is no longer dangerous, a claim that is met with trepidation by the rest of the group. Casanova then delivers a weird and theatrical monologue before a meeting is joined by Greg Kinnear's Lance Hunt, high-profile billionaire and lawyer.
Am I too late to cast my vote?
It's the same actress. I don't know if she's supposed to be the same person.
Claiming to have recently met with Captain Amazing, Hunt reads a fake letter on his behalf imploring the board to give Casanova a second chance.
With Captain Amazing's recommendation and protection, I pronounce you cured.
Hello, Champion City. Daddy is home.
We join our heroes at a diner where Mr. Furious, real name Roy, pitches the idea of hiring a publicist. An argument ensues wherein the trio blame each other for their failings and criticize each other's abilities and costumes.
You're the master of cutlery. You can't throw a knife sometimes?
No, I
when someone's
can't.
trying to kill me?
You can't use a rake sometimes?
No, I'm the shoveler.
Well, I'm the Blue Raja. I'm not stab man. I'm not knifey boy. I'm the Blue Raja. You throw a fork. You throw a fork. When it someone hits someone here, it incapacitates them, doesn't it? Like, ooh, ow, I've been hit. I can't. You throw a knife, you rip their entire arm off, kill them. I don't want to stop a crime by committing an even worse crime. I'm not a stab man. I'm not the murderer. I'm not knifey boy. I'm the Blue Raja.
I mean, you could get a little bit of blue in the uniform somewhere.
Really?
I mean, you got green, there's like a little flowery thing happening, but there's like everything but.
The discussion moves back to hiring a publicist, and we're treated to one of my favorite exchanges in the movie.
That's because Lance Hunt is Captain Amazing.
Oh, don't
here we go.
start that again. Lance Hunt wears glasses. Captain Amazing doesn't wear glasses.
He takes them off when he transforms.
That doesn't make any sense. He wouldn't be able to see.
Lance Hunt and Captain Amazing are clearly the same person, but instead of that being common knowledge, it's brushed off as a conspiracy theory. The crew then have their order taken by Monica, Roy's eventual love interest. We learn from this exchange that news of heroics travels fast, as Monica has already heard about Captain Amazing saving the nursing home. This angers Roy, who's then an asshole to her, and when called out for it, he justifies it by saying he's a ticking time bomb of fury, acting as if he needs to be in character even when he's just at a diner. As the trio leave, they spot Tony C and Tony P of the Disco Boys, a gang that we can infer has been off the scene for a while. Curious as to why they'd be back in town, Roy pursues them while Shoveler and Blue Raja head home.
I thought I was hanging out with a couple of serious superheroes, the Shoveler and the Blue Raja, but apparently I'm hanging out with Lazy Boy and
Good night, boy.
Yes, too.
hang on a second, Lazy Boy and the recliner. Yeah, Lazy Boy and the recliner.
The film takes a beat to give us a glimpse into our heroes' domestic lives. Shoveler, more commonly known as Eddie, lives with his wife and 3 kids in this cyberpunk bungalow. He's been fighting crime for 12 years now, and his wife, Lucille, pleads for him to leave that life behind.
God gave me a gift. I shovel well. I shovel very well.
That does not make you a superhero. You're a good husband and a good father. But that's all. Nothing more.
In a more suburban area of the city, Blue Raja practices one-liners but is interrupted by his mother, with whom he lives.
Red eyes, red eyes, red eyes. What a treat. We weren't expecting to see you again, so spoon.
Jeffrey,
What?
are you in the marijuana?
Mom, you're cheesing me off so bad right now. Just please, good night. Good night.
Okay, I'm real. Jeffrey, please.
Good night.
Okay, good night. Sorry.
Meanwhile, Roy has followed the Disco Boys to Casanova Frankenstein's mansion.
See what's shaking over at the Casanova.
This is my Mojo Dojo Casa House.
Having freshened up, Casanova joins Tony P in the disco room, and we learn that Casanova was locked up for 20 years. It's revealed that Dr. Leek, the psychiatrist who declared him cured, has been on his payroll and dresses like Maleficent in her off hours.
Tony, I want you to spread the word to all of my gangs. Tell them that Casanova Frankenstein is back, and that Casanova Frankenstein is planning something a little bit different.
Casanova then proceeds to blow up the asylum, summoning Captain Amazing to the mansion.
Oh, this is a fine, elegant
Harvey Forsbanker.
Even when it's sucked by scum like you?
Captain Amazing arrives and tells Casanova that he'll be put away for life this time. Despite being high-key stupid, Amazing does remember a lot of Casanova's old tricks, as the hero knows specific weapons that will likely be used against him.
Oh, quick thought. Would you mind removing the submicronic laser in the ring on the index finger of your left hand?
Of course.
And if it wouldn't be too much trouble, go ahead and disengage the psychotropic bacterium dart launchers in your slippers.
Done.
The cold fusion ultrasonic neurostunner in your drink stirrer. Turn it off.
Amazing then picks up what he believes to be the detonator that was just used to destroy the asylum. It actually ends up being a very silly trap, and Amazing is knocked unconscious.
Ah, dang!
The next day, at Sally's auto dismantlers, Roy arrives to work 25 minutes late. He's instructed by his lovely boss to tear apart an old armored car, but hasn't been able to because it was built to withstand bombs.
Junk it! Junk it! I want it junked. Junk it now!
That little sucker just saved your life.
Then junk it! You miserable cuss!
As Roy tries to dismantle the vehicle, he hears on the radio that Lance Hunt is missing and the police haven't been able to reach Captain Amazing for assistance. Answering the call to action, Roy leaves to get his team. Back at Casanova's Mojo Dojo Casa house, Captain Amazing is bound to a chair underneath an ominous device. Casanova Frankenstein plans to unalive Amazing the following night. The captain attempts to bargain for his life, offering to vouch for Casanova's innocence or be his new sidekick.
I'm like Amazing Boy, or Casanova?
In the meantime, the Golden Trio reaches the mansion but don't make it past the entrance due to the overwhelming number of disco boys.
That's it? That's your power? You have guns? Couldn't you be a little more creative than that?
Who needs courage when you have a gun?
The guys get mollywopped and we catch up with them back at the diner where Roy suggests that they level the playing field.
I'm talking about recruiting.
There's the Sphinx, of course.
What's his power?
Well, he's terribly mysterious.
That's it? That's his power? He's mysterious?
Well, terribly mysterious.
Plus, he can, like, cut guns in half with his mind.
Nobody knows where they can find the Sphinx, but Eddie knows where to go to look for somebody else. On the way out of the diner, Roy splits off to hit on and then be refuted by the waitress.
I feel like I should take you out to dinner or something just to make up for being so scary or whatever.
I'm really busy.
Anyway, I wonder what's happening. Ah, here it goes!
We're looking for the one they call the Invisible Boy.
The team arrives at an apartment building looking for the Invisible Boy, played by Kel Mitchell. He tells them that he's been ignored his entire life, which is demonstrated when he tells his dad that he's
Go out to my room with 3 strange men.
We see that he even goes unnoticed by the people he lives with. Invisible Boy explains to the team that he can only become invisible when nobody, including himself, is looking at him.
But you can't give us a demonstration.
No. This kid can turn himself invisible. Watch this. He can do it now.
I can't do it on command.
He can't do it on command, but it is cool.
The guys are naturally skeptical, but as they attempt to leave, Kel convinces them to take him along as he has contacts in the superhero world. Back at the diner, the quartet discuss holding tryouts to find new members. They then spot the Spleen, portrayed by Paul Rubens, and try in vain to hide their faces before he hones in on them.
Hey, fellas. Word on the street is looking for superheroes. I'm a superhero, too. I have powers.
The OG members of the team clearly know his story, but Invisible Boy asks Spleen about his powers. When Spleen was an adolescent, he blamed a fart on an old woman who then cursed him.
Big mistake! Because I'd smelt it, I would forevermore be he who does it!
He proceeds to demonstrate his powers by knocking out a bunch of patrons from across the diner using sniper-like flatulence.
Pull my fingers.
Don't do it.
Oh, dear God.
Silent, but deadly.
Spleen asks where the tryouts are going to be held, and Invisible Boy suggests somewhere with a pool. Roy and Jeffrey immediately look to Eddie, who is less than enthused.
Oh, no. No. Absolutely not. Nope. No.
If one person vomits in my pool, I'm gonna divorce you
That's fair.
Now a quintet, the crew holds tryouts at Eddie's house, where we see a variety of amateur heroes with obscure abilities. We start with Dane Cooks the Waffler, who has the ability to overstay his welcome in under 30 seconds.
With my griddle of justice, I bash the enemy in the head, or I burn them like so. I also have my truth syrup, which is low fat. Waffle Man! I am the Waffler! Golden crispy! Bad guys are history! Yeah!
We also have Doug Jones's Pencilhead.
And I am son of Pencilhead.
There's Ballerina Man, Power Woman.
Me. You copied me.
2 copies.
Bullfighter, Radio Man, Squeegee Man, and PMS Avenger, none of whom end up making the cut. All hope seems lost until one last applicant saves the day. Until one last applicant saves the day.
Am I too late to try out?
Janine Garofalo's the bowler wields a bowling ball that scoffs at the laws of physics. We learn during her interview that she's the daughter of Carmine the Bowler, a famous hero who died under suspicious circumstances whose skull now adorns Carol's ball. Everybody but Roy is impressed by her abilities, and she's invited to join the trio.
Will you join our little ragtag trio?
I think you mean quartet, see, because it's... What are you talking about? There's 5 of us.
That evening, the team is piled into Shoveler's station wagon when they recognize Casanova Frankenstein's limo and begin to pursue him. When they realize they're being followed, Casanova and the Disco Boys allow the heroes to catch up. Shoveler asks what Casanova has done with Captain Amazing, while Tony P notices Carol and introduces himself.
I'm the guy that gave your daddy the shaft.
When Casanova refuses to cooperate, the team springs into action. Shoveler opens with the sweet combo to launch Mr. Furious onto the roof of the limo. Casanova and the Disco Boys attempt to get out of the car, but a fork thrown by Blue Raja activates the locks and traps them inside.
A surprise, to be sure, but a welcome one.
Spleen then hits Casanova with a face full of farts, and Shoveler smashes all the doors in.
I never thought I'd see Paul Rubens, sticking his butt in a limo and letting loose on Jeffrey Rush, Academy Award winner.
Furious continues to pound on the hood of the car ineffectually, serving to annoy the passengers more than anything else. Bowler then wakes up out of her idle animation and sends Carmine through the limo before making a hasty retreat.
Here comes Daddy.
Tony's C and P open fire on our heroes while Casanova laughs it off. I love this little turn the car does as the heroes are escaping. It looks like they're looking back to check if they're being followed. We catch up with our heroes at a bar as they toast to their first victory. Carol continues to bond with Jeff as they discuss the importance of one's relationship with their mother. This seems to bother Carmine as Carol begins a one-sided argument with the ball.
Do you want to go back in the bag? Is that how we're gonna do it now? You make the rules.
Invisible Boy is discouraged when Spleen asks when we'd see his powers, but Shoveler reassures him that his time will come. Thoroughly inebriated, the gang leaves, only to find their car surrounded by Disco Boys. Who's gonna drive anyway, the bowling ball? As the Disco Boys prepare to execute our team, their guns are cut in half by an invisible force. They retreat, and the mysterious stranger reveals himself.
You're the Sphinx, and you are fools.
Back at Sally's, Sphinx tells the group that they need to learn to work as a team.
Mysterious. Terribly mysterious.
With the exception of Roy, everybody is ready to embrace Sphinx's teachings, so they begin their training the following day. First, we see Blue Raja as he throws forks at a target, spinning and flourishing as he fails to hit anything.
Learn to hide your strikes from your opponents, and you more easily strike his hide.
Next, we join Shoveler as he spars with Spleen.
How many weapons do you wield?
Just one, Sphinx.
No. The fist, the knee, the elbow, the head. You must lash out with every limb, like the octopus who plays the drums.
Last up is Mr. Furious, who is trying to balance a hammer on his head while he wears watermelons on his feet.
When you can balance a tack hammer on your head, you will head off your foes with a balanced attack.
And why am I wearing the watermelon on my feet?
I don't remember telling you to do that.
Speaking of feet, we see the crew walking across hot coals to none other than Allstar by Smash Mouth.
Hey now, you're an all-star. Get your game on, go play.
I can't talk about this movie without bringing up how it's related to this song. If it were just a needle drop, I wouldn't spend any time talking about this, but Allstar and Mystery Men share a greater connection. Not only is it played twice during the movie, not only did the trailers for Mystery Men advertise new music from Smash Mouth, but the music video for Allstar actually takes place in the Mystery Men universe. Beginning at the tryouts, the video shows members of the band inserted into random scenes from the movie. Additionally, throughout the film, different characters reference a story in which Roy once lifted a bus.
Well, you lifted a city bus once, man.
You lift to the box once. Precisely. That story's legendary.
We're never shown this event during the movie, but we do see an interpretation of it in the music video, with the lead singer playing the role of Mr. Furious. Anyway, R.I.P. Steve Harwell. Now back to the movie. Sphinx's training has made our heroes more confident in their own abilities, but still doubtful of their teammates.
I believe in my powers.
I believe in my powers.
I believe in the powers of my teammates.
I believe in the powers of my teammates.
I trust in my powers.
I trust in my powers.
I trust in the powers of my teammates.
I trust in the powers of my teammates.
Sphinx even has the crew make new costumes. This ends up being the tipping point for Mr. Furious, who believes they should be taking down Casanova.
For when you care for what is outside, what is inside cares for you.
Okay, am I the only one who finds these sayings just a little bit formulaic?
Let's all be good little automaton droids and believe everything we hear on TV.
Like an automaton robot.
Are we gonna sew dresses all day, or are we gonna rescue Amazing? You wanna sit here and play Susie Homemaker with Captain Conundrum, or do you wanna be superheroes? Do you wanna sit here and make Halloween outfits with Little Red Riding Hood, or you wanna take care of business?
You want to get on the train here, or you want to ruin another take, huh?
Everybody else is happy with the results they've seen from their training, so they stay behind as Furious storms off. Sphinx suggests that they make up for their loss of manpower with the addition of firepower, but Blue Raja refuses to use guns.
He won't even use a knife.
Ugh, you're not going to start with that Misha Goss again, are you?
Knowing that Casanova will have no qualms with using guns, Shoveler remembers Dr. Heller from the beginning of the adventure. Shoveler, Spleen, and Bowler seek out Dr. Heller, who has set up shop in an abandoned amusement park.
We're on a mission. We've come for weapons.
Step into my office.
Look at that!
Don't
Bow! Bow!
point it.
Bow! Bow!
Bang,
Jesus! Please put it down. Bang! 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 You're dead.
Heller tells the heroes that he doesn't make any weapons that are lethal. Immediately losing faith, they leave, only for Heller to hit Spleen with a canned tornado. Now back on board and back inside, we get a look at a couple of the other weapons in Heller's arsenal. First, Spleen and Bowler check out the Shrinker, which uses dry cleaning technology to shrink a target's clothes to the point that they won't be able to breathe. But, you know, in a non-lethal way. Shoveler, in the meantime, accidentally sets off my favorite weapon, the blame thrower.
My favorite was the blame thrower.
Careful, that's a blame thrower.
A blame thrower. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Your bad attitude is hurting this team.
Stop spitting on me, Eric. The shower.
Lady, let it shower. Stink. Zip it around. I really think you know everything. Sorry if I spit.
My favorite.
Meanwhile, Roy is walking home with Monica.
Who? Just say waitress.
He clearly wants to rejoin the group, but doesn't want to look ridiculous since he just left this morning. Monica suggests that he apologize and his friends will take him back, but Roy thinks he needs to frame his return as part of his Furious persona. As Monica heads inside, we see that the two of them were followed by the Disco Boys. Team Sphinx prepares to storm Casanova's mansion when Roy arrives back at camp. He talks to Eddie and even begins an apology before acting like he was too angry to express himself. Eddie, being the good friend that he is, plays along and invites Roy back to the group.
Temperature rising. Vision blurring. Rage taking over.
Why don't you come with us? I wouldn't want anyone to get hurt.
Back at the mansion, Casanova has gathered numerous gangs from around the city, each with their own fun themes.
The Suses, assassins from the east. The Suits, and the Furious, always dressed to kill. And the frat boys, still on probation for lethal hazing. The not-so-goody mob, putting the rhyme into crime.
Well, the pleasure's all mine, Frankenstein. We're about to perpetrate some evil on these Champion City people.
Rapping, snapping, capping.
Yeah.
Casanova explains that he has a plan to take over Champion City and remove Captain Amazing from the picture.
What should the signal be?
Karoo.
No, we're not.
Whippoorwill?
No, Karoo. Yes, but isn't that better?
As the villains celebrate, the heroes infiltrate the mansion and find Captain Amazing hooked up to a large contraption. With Bowler and Furious at the controls, Amazing attempts to give instructions on how to release him from the device. Between instructions, Blue Raja and Shoveler unintentionally distract Captain Amazing, leading to an argument over what steps of the process have already been completed.
Do you know billionaire Lance Hunt?
It's me. No, I'm kidding with you. I've always wanted to do that.
What's next?
I just told you, flip the second toggle.
Again?
What do you mean?
Flip the toggle twice?
No, don't do that. Just flip it again, now, one time.
As Captain Amazing yells at Bowler, Blue Raja takes matters into his own hands.
This one, yeah.
Uh-oh. Wrong switch.
The device is activated, hideously morphing and eventually killing Captain Amazing.
Oh my God, we killed him.
What do you mean, we? I was right here.
The heroes retreat as Casanova's party approaches, and the villains arrive to find Captain Amazing already dead.
This sucker's dead.
Casanova plays this off as if it was always his plan, and he tells his goons that at midnight he'll do to the city what he's done to Amazing.
Und there's still be time to go up, get down, und boogie.
The villains continue to party, but Casanova finds a fork dropped by Blue Raja and tells Tony P it's time to
take out some insurance.
The heroes debrief with Heller at the amusement park, and he tells them about the device that they're up against. Casanova has built a psychofraculator, a weapon that even Heller believed couldn't be built.
We need Captain Amazing. Yes, but unfortunately, we just killed him, so...
No, unfortunately, you killed him.
No longer able to count on saving Captain Amazing and worrying that they're out of their league, the team even considers running away. Eddie can't have this and needs to motivate the group with a rousing speech.
This is egg salad. It's loaded with cholesterol. The wife won't even let me touch it. Hardly seems to matter now, because chances are we're already dead. Amazing is gone. There's no use waiting for the cavalry, because as of this moment, the cavalry is us. This is our fight, whether we like it or not. Just we few. We're not your classic superheroes. We're not the favorites. We're the other guys. We're the guys nobody ever bets on. We're all in over our heads, and we know it. But if we take on this fight, those of us who survive it will forever after show our scars with pride and say, that's right, I was there. I fought the good fight. So what do you say? Do we all gather together and go kick some Casanova butt? Or do I eat this sandwich?
I say, what the fork? Let's do it.
Reinvigorated, the team formulates a plan to stop Casanova and get to work. In the suburbs, Jeff has returned to his house to gather more forks when he's confronted by his mother. Finally deciding to be honest with her, Jeff admits that he's secretly a superhero.
I'm a superhero, Mother. I am pilfering your tableware because I hurl it. I hurl it with a deadly accuracy. Your boy's a limey fork flinger, Mother. Hard cheese to swallow, I know, but there it is. What will the Bridge Club think?
You need more forks?
She takes the news extremely well, even giving him a set of forks that she was saving for his wedding day.
Do the accent.
Well, I'd love to stay and chit-chat, Mother, but I fear I must away with me. Our metropolis is in the clutches of a madman.
They say their goodbyes, then we catch up with Eddie at home with his wife. Lucille plans on divorcing Eddie for continuing to choose the hero's life, but he accepts it knowing that he and his team are the city's last hope.
Wish me luck.
Follow me.
Across town, Furious says goodbye to Monica, who doesn't actually know his real name. He lies at first, then tells her his name is Roy. She kisses him, saying, just be Roy. This breaks Roy's brain, and his struggle to find his identity culminates at the worst possible time. The team gathers at Sally's to prepare the Herkimer battle jitney. Roy has a mental breakdown while Blue Raja and Spleen try to get him back on board. Meanwhile, Invisible Boy and Heller work on the vehicle, which comes equipped with an electronuclear magnet. We then get a good old-fashioned suit-up sequence as our heroes don their new costumes and head off to save the city. Aboard the Herkimer, Roy continues to spiral while Bowler tries to hype him up.
You're not well-liked. You're abrasive and off-putting. You try and say pithy things, but your wit is a hindrance, and so therefore nothing is provocative. It's just mixed metaphors. Now, doesn't that make you angry?
He worries that he doesn't actually have any powers, which leads to Invisible Boy doubting his own powers in turn. From the driver's seat, Shoveler reins them all in as he plows the battle jitney straight through the front door of Casanova's mansion. The enemy gangs immediately open fire, but they're promptly disarmed when the magnet is activated. They retreat to the disco room where the entryway is protected by a laser that psychofraculates anybody who approaches.
I knew I should have brought my large pie server.
Invisible Boy recognizes this as his moment, and he has the group look away so he can achieve transparency. We then see his clothes drop to the ground as he disappears and deactivates the laser. Inside the disco room, the gangs prepare to fight off our heroes as midnight approaches. The good guys burst into the room and find the furriers waiting for them. Sphinx hits them with the shrinker, causing the furriers' clothes to tighten until they're incapacitated.
Now that's a wedgie she won't soon forget.
My pants feel like they're shrinking too.
Attempting to flank the heroes, the not-so-goody mob approaches from behind, only for Spleen to neutralize them with the flamethrower.
Flamethrower! Look out! Yo, I got a broom to get you home.
Moving further into the mansion, Shoveler takes out multiple disco boys, while Spleen and Invisible Boy deal with the Susies.
Take this, Shovel Man!
The assassins use the gun stuck to the Herkimer to open fire, shooting Spleen in the process. However, he's able to use his powers one more time, taking out the Susies in a single shot.
It'll do.
With most of the cannon fodder out of the way, it's time for Bowler to confront Tony P. He gloats about killing Carmine and doesn't believe Carol has what it takes to exact her revenge. Carol calmly removes Carmine from his bag as she agrees, saying that she's not going to kill Tony because she's better than him, and she may even be able to forgive him one day. Carmine, on the other hand, feels differently. While Tony is distracted, Carmine circles around and plows him into a wall, complete with strike sound effects.
Oh, Carmine, on the other hand, feels differently than I do about forgiveness. Okay, now I'm going back to graduate school. That was the agreement.
The good guys are feeling confident until they see that Casanova has taken Monica hostage. Furious pleads for them to stand down as Casanova fortifies his position at the top of the stairs. With midnight rapidly approaching, Furious tries desperately to reach Monica. Finally getting something to do, Blue Raja throws forks into the wall, allowing Furious to ascend. Casanova gets the better of him until his manhandling of Monica sets Roy off.
Oh no, Rich Royal's taking over.
Actually consumed by rage, Mr. Furious starts mollywopping Casanova as the psychofraculator powers on. Furious defeats Casanova, hurling him into the device and getting in a one-liner for good measure.
Frack you later, Franken puss.
Outside, the psychofraculator has already begun to wreak havoc upon the city. Roy rejoins the group gathered around the machine. Revisiting their time in training, they group hug around Bowler so she can send Carmine into the fraculator.
That's not practicing, that's group hugging.
Group hug!
She says her one-sided goodbyes and Carmine destroys the machine from the inside out.
I love you, Dad!
The next morning, Dr. Heller watches a live report from the ruins of the mansion.
Does that fraculator work or what? What's the deal there?
As the dust settles, our heroes emerge and their excitement is palpable.
We did it!
We won!
Hey, that's my team!
We won!
My team!
We struck down evil with the mighty sword of teamwork and the hammer of not bickering.
We see reactions from the heroes' families as they watch the news, and even Lucille acknowledges Eddie as a hero.
That's Mother!
My hero.
Hi, Mom. I mean, cheerio, Mommy.
The team dedicates their victory to the real heroes of the world who never get credit.
Like the lady in the DMV, that's a rough job. And the guy that drives the snowplow, and the school nurse.
With no official name for the group, the reporter comes up with one for them.
Well, whatever you call them, Champion City will forever owe a debt of gratitude to these mystery men.
Not hearing the suggestion, the group continues to debate as Allstar fades up and our journey comes to an end.
It's a cool place.
This assignment was supposed to be 6 beans long. You've already gone on for 8 beans.
Okay, I'm almost finished.
Before being given to Kinka Usher, Mystery Men had 2 other names attached to potentially direct: Danny DeVito and Ben Stiller. DeVito had seen success as a director, producer, and actor in numerous projects, including the adaptation of Roald Dahl's Matilda shortly before being offered this. He was in talks to both star and direct, but negotiations over who would produce the soundtrack apparently caused the whole deal to fall apart. Maybe DeVito wanted to do the end credits rap himself?
Jermaine Garofalo got the flow. Ben Stiller, you know he gon' rock the mic and killer. He be the filler. William Macy, you know how we do it every day. See.
The next option was Ben Stiller, who was asked to rewrite the script and direct the movie before he was set to star. He eventually stepped away, saying it would have been too large of an undertaking. The project was then handed to Kinka Usher, Ben Stiller was brought back to star in the lead role, and history was made. While I love this movie, it certainly had its detractors when it was released. The most prevalent criticism I've seen is of the film's runtime, 122 minutes.
How long you gonna do this, Eddie?
It's hardly a Judd Apatow level slog to get through, but it is paced in a very lackadaisical manner. A lot of this can be attributed to the movie's willingness to give us character moments. Kinka Usher was cognizant of the fact that most movies done by commercial directors would often rely heavily on special effects. Usher instead was dedicated to showing us that he knew how to work with characters. Ben Stiller was also well aware of this challenge. When speaking on the script, Stiller said, "A lot of the time what gets lost is the specific character stuff, and the small moments that really have to work for the whole thing to work. So that's what we are concentrating on as much as possible." While the movie may not have been successful 100% of the time, I do appreciate the glimpses we're given into our heroes' personal lives. Not every sincere moment is punctuated by a joke, and I think this ultimately works in the film's favor. It seems like such an obvious thing, but I love the production design in this movie. And look, I get it. The bar has never been lower when it comes to movie sets. Everybody is shot in the volume with the actors in separate spaces, or more and more often they're fully represented by some CGI monstrosity. Costumes aren't even worn, they're just pasted on the actor in post. I know these aren't original thoughts, but I need to add my voice to the chorus of people saying that this shit sucks.
For when you care for what is outside, what is inside cares for you.
This movie has a ton of costumed heroes, so it was important that they got this right. First of all, the costumes actually look bespoke and homemade. They're all unique to the wearer, they don't look like they came from the same neoprene onesie emporium. Blue Raja is the only one who really talks about his costume, but that's not to say the others don't include some fun details. Eddie, as a construction worker, wears a hard hat along with his son's baseball vest. Carol wears a wrist brace since she used to be a bowler. Sphinx used to be a wrestler, and Invisible Boy wears a lot of camouflage. They've all just made outfits using what they have at home. Compare that to Captain Amazing, whose billionaire status allows him to wear a proper supersuit and travel via jetpack. Or, take a look at Spider-Man, who supposedly made this with just a sewing machine and a dream. Sidebar, what the fuck is the camera doing during this final swing? I think details like real sets, wearable costumes, and tangible props lead to better movies. This isn't me saying everything needs to be done practically, as this movie features plenty of CGI as well, but something about actually seeing these actors cram into a diner booth or interact with the environment does a lot for my immersion in the investment in this world. Plus, somebody clearly had a lot of fun coming up with this Ratchet and Clank arsenal featured throughout the movie.
Would you mind removing the submicronic laser psychotropic bacterium dart launchers in your slippers? The cold fusion ultrasonic neurostunner in your drink stir? A multi-frequency radio detonator?
It's a chloroform deploying portable enticement snare.
Could be a photon eviscerator heating up.
Could be a cybernetic atom scrambler.
Sounds more like a heat-seeking anthrax projection gun to me.
A can tornado, huh?
Yes, a shrinker.
That's a high-temperature fabric adhesive liquid projector. Careful, that's a flamethrower. It's a psychofraculator. You have a Herkimer battle jitney?
A subtronic sorry.
Fun fact, Janine Garofalo even kept the bowling ball as a Halloween decoration despite not even knowing how to bowl. In my opinion, it's also worth mentioning the color palette of this film, like how there is one. Kinka Usher even set out to make the movie look flat, like a comic book, and even then still put out a more lively looking movie than the crap being put out now. I know other popular, more annoying people have made this point before, but Marvel movies all look like desaturated grayscale garbage. Even the ones that are supposed to be the vibrant ones look like the first half of a commercial for antidepressants before the fog of sadness is lifted. And it's not just Marvel anymore. In my opinion, scenes from the live action One Piece suffer from this issue too. If you're sick of hearing this criticism,
Don't hear you hearing it.
I mean, maybe my eyes are broken. Seriously, I've worn corrective lenses most of my life. Plus, they've seen a lot.
These eyes have seen a lot of love, but they're never gonna see another one like I have with you.
Anybody who already thinks the film is too long would probably appreciate that these scenes were removed, but I might have swapped a couple of them into the final cut. The first deleted scene of note takes place shortly after Captain Amazing goes missing. Roy travels to a construction site to find Eddie. Eddie tells Roy that he's considering leaving the hero's life behind for the sake of his family. Roy then refers back to a pledge the two of them made the first night they teamed up.
Thinking about a little oath we took at a certain bar downtown?
Roy, don't.
I swear that I will fight crime and oppose injustice in any form, at any hour.
I've got kids. You understand what that means?
And if I ever break this oath, a brick should fall from a building of great height and chip a little chunk off my skull.
And my brain gets exposed to the oxygen, and I die.
Your words, Eddie. Your words.
The next cutscene takes place directly afterwards, with both Roy and Eddie seeking out Jeff in a bridal shop where he works. We're shown that Jeff sells silverware, and he uses his knowledge of fork throwing as well as his British accent while he's on the clock.
Should your taste run a trifle more refined, however, might one suggest the Continental? Can you just feel the balance there? Go ahead, take it in your hand, old boy. Don't be skittish.
Textured grips, should your hands get wet.
I'm thinking maybe we should pick the plates first.
Yes, of course. Let the tail wag the dog.
The rest of the scene plays out pretty uneventfully with Roy and Eddie telling Jeff about Captain Amazing, but I would have kept this first section. I love seeing how Jeff's hero life influences his private life and vice versa. My favorite of the deleted scenes involves the trio trying to find the Sphinx, a task which requires ordering the right combination of items at a taco stand he's rumored to work at.
Yes, well, we'd like to order a combination, please. A very special combination, if you know what I mean, and I think you do.
What do you think of the number 13?
13 says 13.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what we're looking for.
I warn you, what you're asking for, very hot.
It's cool. Taking heat. It's what we do.
Would you like some guacamole with that?
I'm not sure. Is it true?
I don't think so. That could be the whole code, right? Yeah. I think sure.
Yeah, why not?
It's revealed that the heroes are just trying to brute force the combination, and they gorge themselves on Mexican food before heading out to find the invisible boy. As they leave, a maskless Sphinx comes over and clears their table. Other than finding this amusing, I like that we get a little more setup before Sphinx's sudden appearance later. In the final cut, Eddie refers to Sphinx as a big crime fighter from down south, which one might interpret to mean he doesn't even operate in Champion City. Also, the scene features a cameo from Luis Guzman, a welcome addition to any story. Spoiler alert, this is easily debunked, but I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the time that Tom Waits started a rumor that this movie was directed by Tim Burton under a pseudonym. If I may relay some second, actually more like third, fourth, fifth-hand information, the story goes that in a book written by Waits, he talks about his experience on set making this movie. During the section, he mistakenly credits Tim Burton as the director, releasing it by a different name presumably because he wasn't happy with how it turned out. The story was then relayed on a shitty podcast, leading to discussions of how the movie does have some Burton-y aesthetics and moments, and this guy King Usher hasn't even done anything before or since.
Well, Kinga doesn't know what the doing. What a hack. He's never directed anything before. What did he bring us? The Chihuahua? Viva Gorditas?
Oh my god.
This probably goes without saying, but using a pseudonym doesn't typically entail taking over the identity of a very different, very real person. Prior to making Mystery Men, Kinka Usher actually won awards for his work on commercials, which include the Yo Quiero, Taco Bell, and Got Milk ad campaigns.
He'll just come in and suggest, that scene would be really great if you just put a bag of Doritos in your hand. Or he'll be like, yeah, can you have a milk mustache in that scene?
You can even see him in action directing the film in behind-the-scenes footage. Not only that, but he worked with actors to make script rewrites on a daily basis and gave them plenty of space to make the characters their own. Usher also rewrote the ending to the film after the original conclusion apparently left test audiences unsatisfied, and he wanted to give people what he called the big cheer ending.
As if.
As if we'd end the movie like that. Sure.
Let's do the Scooby-Doo ending.
Good call.
Mystery Men came out at a time when superheroes on the big screen were considerably more rare. Even more novel was the concept of superhero underdogs. Nowadays, every superhero team is seemingly made up of randos with non-traditional powers. In an alternate universe where James Gunn didn't work for Marvel and DC, this could have been where he made his mark. Instead of Tim Burton, it could have been James Gunn given undeserved credit from Tom Waits. While other franchises have reached back into the 90s vault to mine for member berries, Mystery Men has remained an untouchable treasure. I find it fitting that this movie is considered a cult classic. It's a movie about underdogs for underdogs, so it seems appropriate that it wasn't turned into a massive franchise or made part of a shared universe. For now, it stands alone, hopefully not to be remade during my lifetime. Unless they do a musical, I would totally write the Mystery Men musical.